Is it possible to become a billionaire as a normal person today? Normal person doing normal things to become a billionaire? And the answer is yes, it is possible. I'm going to tell you how to actually do that on this video right now. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Masek. I'm an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for to help you out. So how the heck do you become a billionaire? That seems obscene. And I was thinking about even contemplating about doing this video because it seems so ridiculous. And I'm going to get people saying that that's not possible and all of that kind of stuff. And the answer is actually incredibly simple. The answer is get a good, high-paying job, not like a ridiculous one, right? Like actually become like a lawyer, become a medical doctor, something along those lines. And then over the course of your lifetime, invest everything that you make over a normal salary that a regular person can live off of, and invest that in index funds and mutual funds that have high growth potential behind them. And that is a really, really easy answer to how you actually become a billionaire, because the financial calculations are absolutely possible. You can go into any savings calculator right now and figure out what it would actually take to become a billionaire. What it's going to take is there's three things that you need to do. Is sock away. If you socked away $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month from now into perpetuity, and you have pretty good investment, so 10%, 12%, somewhere around there. 10% is what the average market actually does. And then you do this until you're 90, 100 years old. And that seems ridiculous, right? Like all of that kind of stuff, you're thinking like, who the heck is going to do that? Who is, as a doctor, as a physician, who is going to live below their means such that they're living like just a normal, regular, everyday person? Well, that requires you as a lawyer, as an accountant, whatever. That requires you to live well below your means. It requires you to live in a house that's probably, so if you are a highfalutin lawyer, right, you're making a lot of money, you have a good job, right? Like I'm just saying, or a highfalutin engineer, or a highfalutin nurse or whatever, right? Like you have a really good job that's stable, right? That means instead of buying that ginormous house that you actually want to live in, you live in a regular 800 square foot house, or like a normal house. Instead of getting that opulent car that you want, like a Mercedes or whatever, you drive around in a Dodge, or you drive around in a Ford, and that's it, a 3-4-year-old Ford. And then you do that your whole life. Instead of getting a enormous vacation someplace, like, I don't know, whatever it would be, right? Like taking your entire family on a cruise someplace, something, like just really ridiculous that you know that you've made it, right? Instead of doing that kind of stuff, you take them tent camping, and you do that kind of stuff. You live a normal functioning life, like a normal life, and a life that you're happy about, and you do that in perpetuity. And you do that so long. You do that for 90 years. You do that for 80 years, 90 years. And then at the end of it, you actually will be able to get physically $1 billion. I was like, this is ridiculous, but it is possible, right? And the question is, why aren't more people actually doing that? And, the answer could be that they don't have any information. They can't figure this kind of stuff out. But, it's actually really easy to do. There's a whole bunch of websites that tell you all this kind of stuff. It's super easy to get to. People marketing to you all the time, getting you to get that information. We've got libraries full of information that tell you this kind of stuff if you were to pick it up. It could be that people are just lazy and they don't want to do anything like that. And that is a possibility. But, I believe that people are lazy. They truly are. But there should be at least some people that are willing to do this kind of stuff, right? There should be a portion of the population that do these kind of stuff. And it's not going to be the Jeff Bezos and the Steve Jobs and all of those kind of people, but regular everyday people. And the answer is, a lot of stuff happens in our life, and we are balancing this need to be like somebody else and sort of show who we are. We're human beings. We're animals, right? We're animals. We're not machines. And if you imagine us as animals, we're trying to impress other people. We're trying to hold ourselves together. We're trying not to fall apart all the time. All of those kind of things, the answer becomes quite straightforward in why we actually do the things that we do, right? And this is, I was thinking about this, right? Like riding in I have a car, I do, you've seen that, and I used to ride my bike in, but I often would get the old, oh, you poor soul, you're riding around your bike, you must be poor. No, I actually chose to do that because it's financially responsible. And so if you were to do those kind of things, and you were to make an entire life of doing those things, and you lived a normal, healthy, functioning life where your goal was to live as if somebody was making, I don't know, as if your family was making $65,000 a year, right? And everything that you make, and you have a really fantastic job, right? Like, which is a lot of people. I know a ton of people, really fantastic jobs that are just pretty normal, functioning human beings doing their life, and they have great jobs. But if you were to live off of the $65,000, which requires you to make a lot of really tough, really tight choices, that everybody would look at you like you're crazy. Right? If you were to choose to do that, by the time that you're 100, you could possibly have $1 billion as a normal functioning human being. But we don't do that. And that's what I want you to realize, is that the potential of compound interest, of doing things for decades and decades and decades, is enormous. But nobody ever takes them up on that particular possibility. And the question is, why? Why? So I'm standing out here right now, right? I know that the internet works on compound interest, right? Like I saw, there's great papers out there that sort of show the sort of compound interest effects of the internet that actually has. I'm standing here in a parking lot, and I'm worried there's very few people around, and I'm worried about what people are going to think and say about me. But I have to push back against that. I have to constantly push back against that. And as I push back against that, I can realize that, hey, you know what? This is good. This is really good. And pushing back against that world, many people are unable to push back against that world. I mean, that's where we get addictions and all these kind of things that, man, sometimes it's really hard to push back against the world. But push back against that world as much as you possibly can, and stop worrying about what other people are thinking and doing and saying and all of that kind of stuff. And you walk a healthy, normal, functioning life. And you do that repeatedly, and you do that for decades and decades and decades and decades, and enormous prosperity comes to you that you would never think was possible. I'm not teaching some funky, far out sort of thing. This is not unachievable for a huge portion of the population that lives in North America and around the world, a massive proportion of that. And even if you live in a place that, the cost of living is low, the possibility of you becoming decamillionaires, like millionaires, multi-millions, by the time that you are in your, by the time you're in your 90s and hundreds, is absolutely there. And you just got to choose to do that by doing these slow incremental steps, and ignoring the rest of the world, making sure that you have safeguards and insurance and those kind of basic things, and making sure that you are not getting swindled by the insurance and all of those kind of things. Just get the basic moments or basic things that you need, and just keep investing over and above what a normal person would actually live like in your area. All right, that's it. That's a secret. And you're not going to do it. You're not going to be willing to make that investment and do this for such a long time, and you're going to think I'm crazy. But for those of you who actually try this and pursue it, you're going to think it's crazy like a fox. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.